When I was a little kid, I was into a lot of franchises. I was into the OG Thomas the Tank Engine series, the OG Bob the Builder series, a lot of Disney classics from around the time, and so many other franchises that I probably just won't be able to remember at this very moment. And I loved these franchises to death for the first 3 years of my life. I loved them. But my life would change forever when I was 4 years old, when I first saw this shot right here. When I first laid my little eyes that night on this hedgehog with that awesome fire behind him, getting ready to destroy all of these robots in space, my life changed forever. This opening animation would set me on a path that would direct my life forever. The second I started on that first act of Windmill Isle as a kid, I fell in love with this franchise. But unlike the other franchises I loved growing up, nothing, and I mean nothing, has ever left a bigger impact on me than Sonic did. The closest thing to make such an impact on me at the time besides Sonic was Mario, and that was when my friend showed me New Super Mario Bros. On the bus ride home from school. And I was 5, and by this point I had already played all the classic Sonic games thanks to Sonic Mega Collection for PS2, and had been playing Sonic Unleashed on the Wii for a very long time, as well as watching reruns of Sonic X on 4Kids, and the only thing to have another big impact on my life was 80s rock and roll. But besides that, needless to say, I had officially fallen in love with the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. I always have loved this franchise to death. Unlike other franchises I had in my life, as I've gotten older in my life, I've left a number of characters and shows I once loved behind. But Sonic, I've always kept around. Throughout all the ups and downs this character has had over the years, I've always stayed with this franchise. Even whenever I was in school and I was made fun of or simply called out negatively for simply liking this franchise, I still stuck with it. That's how much I loved it. Nothing ever made me want to leave when I was a kid. I was hooked on this franchise. Anything that was or did or had anything to do with Sonic in any way, shape, or form, I was interested. Heck, he was the reason I went and saw Wreck-It Ralph when I was a little kid. When I saw that Sonic was in this Disney movie, I said, "Mom, we have to go see this movie now because Sonic is in it." That's how much I loved this franchise. I bought toys, merchandise, old TV shows, I got it all. So from what I've told you in this video, you could probably get the idea that I love the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Also, this channel most likely shows as well. But what is the point of this video today, you're likely questioning? Are you just here to tell us how much you loved the Sonic franchise when you were a kid? Well, not exactly. Take a look at the calendar for today, my good friend. That's right, today is Sonic's birthday. So, what is the point of today's video, you're asking? Well, my good sir and madam, with it being Sonic's birthday today, I thought it would kind of be appropriate that I would like to just make a video and tell you guys why I will never leave the Sonic franchise, as well as give you my story on when I actually did once leave, and how I came back, and how I will never leave this franchise. So without further ado, everyone, sit back, grab a snack, and get a drink as I tell my story of how I fell in love with the Sonic franchise and how I left it and then I came back. So in order to truly understand how I really fell in love with the Sonic franchise, we've got to kind of go back to where it all began. It first all began when I was 4 years old and my dad brought home a Nintendo Wii that had Wii Sports, and he also got a copy of Sonic Unleashed for the Wii. And this game set me on a perfect path for the rest of my life. So fast forward a couple years, I loved the Sonic franchise growing up. I loved everything. I loved all the games. I bought every single show I could watch. I loved this franchise. I had birthdays being themed around Sonic. I loved this franchise to death. The second I saw that opening animation to Sonic Unleashed, I loved it. I never wanted to not have my life involved with Sonic. Never, ever. So with this knowledge, knowing how much I just truly love this franchise ever since I was 4 years old, you've got to ask, where did the downfall start? Well, if you want to get kind of technical, the story technically does kind of start in 2014 with the announcement of Sonic Boom. By this point, we just had Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations a few years prior, and the most recent Sonic game we had was Sonic Lost World, and little me was a little bit disappointed in that game, mainly because when I first played it on the 3DS when I was a kid, I was so confused why whenever I started moving Sonic, he was so slow. But what's going on here? So I thought to myself, maybe it'll be different on the Wii U version. And so, after I watched that epic opening cutscene, the first level started and I just yelled, "Oh, come on! So you can imagine the confusion I had when I was a kid when I saw that Sonic was once going really fast through all these levels in games like Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, and suddenly in a new Sonic Lost World game for the Wii U, we're going really slow, and I didn't even discover the run button until almost many months later. Or maybe a year, I don't even know, I can't remember anymore. So, one day in 2014, my father comes home from work and he shows me something on social media. He shows me this picture right here. You can see these silhouettes of these characters. And he said, "Do you know who that is?" And I said, "No, I don't know what that is." And then shortly after he showed me the second photo, which was the Sonic redesigns. I didn't know how to respond. I said, "That's Sonic?" And he said, "Yeah. It's a new game and a TV show as well." And he showed me the TV show trailer, and I'll admit, I actually really kind of was intrigued, and pretty much just to say my 2 cents on the show, I love the Sonic Boom TV show. It was great. I still watch it to this very day, and in fact, I actually even showed off when I got the complete series on a reaction video a while back when Sonic Frontiers Hype Train was starting to leave the station. I love Sonic Boom. I remember all the memories that me and my mother would watch it all the time when I was in middle school. Even I'd get up early in 5th grade before school and I'd watch it on Cartoon Network. I love the show. The game, however, I remember when I got Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric in Christmas of 2014, I put it in the Wii U, I was so disappointed. See, by this point, I already hated Sonic's design. I did not understand why Sonic went from a cool, epic guy who follows his own rules and whatnot, to then just a weird blue-armed, long-legged, sports tape-looking weird mofo. I had no clue what I was looking at, so it was just so bizarre seeing this. So a little me thought, well, this must be Sonic now. Oh well, I guess I'll just have to get over it. So I played Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, and I was so disappointed that Sonic was going slow yet again. This was 2 Sonic games in a row, and what made me love Sonic so much was how fast you can go, which I think that hints to why all of us love it, because of how fast you can go. But still, I was so confused as a kid why I had a Sonic game that was so just ridiculously slow. It was so weird. But regardless, I still played through it, and it was an alright time. I much preferred the 3DS versions though when I did get my hands on those a little bit afterwards after Sonic Boom had kind of died out. I got those 3DS games around early 2016, maybe 2015, I can't remember which, it's been quite some time. So now with that said, let's fast forward to 2016. One day when I was 12 years old, it was a summer rainy day, I was lying on my bed on my iPod watching Sasso Studios and playing Sonic games on my Xbox 360. And by this point, the only thing Sonic related we've had recently was again the Sonic Boom games, which is basically Shattered Crystal and Rise of Lyric. That was the only thing we had, and also we had Sonic Runners in the previous year, and I actually really liked that game. I'm still sad that that game is gone, but it will forever be remembered in our hearts. And also we had Fire and Ice on the way, but I wasn't really all excited for it. I would play the game, because it was Sonic, of course I was going to get it, but still, I was still kind of, kept saying, this isn't my Sonic. I want my peach-colored Sonic. I want my fast Sonic. I don't want sports tape. I want my long-quilled Sonic Generation Sonic Unleashed Sonic back. That's who I wanted back. Until then, I kind of just didn't care. But you can get what I'm saying. What I really wanted out of a Sonic game was a Sonic game that was like Sonic Generations and Sonic Colors and Sonic Unleashed as well, because at this point I had done played the Xbox 360 version of Unleashed at a friend's house, and then eventually I got my own copy. But that's what I wanted from a Sonic game like those 3 games. I wanted one just like that again. And by this point, it was the 25th anniversary. And I had no idea that there was a Sonic party being held in San Diego. I had no clue about this because I didn't really follow up with the franchise much. I kind of was just out of the loop entirely. So after watching a couple of Sasso Studio animations from around the time, I then saw a video pop up that was called Sonic Mania Reveal Trailer. I watched it and said, cool. The little 12-year-old me had no idea that this was an official Sonic game. To be perfectly honest, I thought this was a fan project. I am not lying. And it was a classic Sonic game, so I really didn't care all that much. What I wanted was a true 3D modern Sonic game like Sonic Generations or Sonic Colors or even Sonic Unleashed. That's what I wanted at the time. And lo and behold, about 2 minutes later, bam! Project Sonic 2017 trailer. I clicked the video the second I saw it. And when I saw that trailer, I could not believe what I was seeing. I didn't know how to react. This is the first time I was genuinely hyped for a brand new game. And it was after these games were revealed, I really started to follow the franchise. I started tuning into more of Game Explain's videos of analysis and whatnot. I also even started tuning into the official Sonic live streams, pretty much just to get any news or updates I could pretty much just, get any info I could see. And of course, I was already watching Kobe at this point for a very long time. By this point, I done saw his videos on the new games as well, and I couldn't be even more excited for these upcoming games. So, fast forward to August 2017, I got Sonic Mania, and I had a great time. But that was the cherry on top. The real cake was coming that November. I was excited for Sonic Forces like crazy. I remember being so hyped for Forces. It was looking like everything I wanted for the past 3 years. A game with modern Sonic Boost gameplay, new custom character, and classic Sonic. But anyway, I was still excited. So November came, and I actually liked it. I know, my opinion has changed massively since then, but here's the thing. I think a piece of me didn't really just understand how bad this Sonic game really was at the time. I guess a piece of me was so excited for it that I just couldn't see the flaws with it. There would be times where I'd play Forces on my Switch in early 2018 and didn't realize how bored I was while playing. But looking back, I can tell I was indeed bored while playing after finishing the game. But I did not accept that I'd be bored of this game until much later when I played the PS4 version years later. And at that moment, I knew the game was boring and had a terrible story because by this point, I was playing other games. But we'll get back to when I replayed Sonic Forces on a PlayStation 4 later when we get there. So for now, let's move on to 2018. A lot happened. Smash Ultimate was revealed, and soon the new God of War would be coming out, even though at the time I didn't even know what a God of War was. And in March of that year, Sega hosted another Sonic South by Southwest panel, and I was really excited and looking forward to it. Keep in mind, I still thought Forces was a decent game. So, what did we get at South by Southwest 2018? We got the announcement of Sonic Mania Plus, a teaser for Sonic Mania Adventures, some merch stuff, and a teaser for what would eventually be Team Sonic Racing. And while I was a naive 13-year-old who thought that we'd get a brand new Sonic game announcement here, I wasn't disappointed entirely. But I was optimistic about the new racing game. A few months go by, and then it's summertime of 2018. I actually was starting to get into Dragon Ball after I left middle school. And of course, the summer of E3 was here, and the forever memorable Smash Bros. Ultimate Everybody Was Here reveal, which really was my game of the year that year when I saw that trailer. There was also a Team Sonic Racing trailer, but it didn't get me excited at all. So after E3, I just grind through the Chow Garden pretty much the entire summer, and then I start high school. And like within the first week of high school for me, Smash Bros. Ultimate started showing more, and I was getting hyped like crazy. Me and my friend, every day when we got to English class, when we got our Chromebooks, instead of paying attention, we would just get on the Chromebooks and look to find new screenshots or new gameplay clips or anything we could see that was new about this game. The hype was real, boys, I tell you. And it still is. There's nothing as top Smash Bros. Ultimate to this very day. But wait a second. What about TSR? Well, it turns out that got delayed to 2019. Wonder why. So fast forward to 2019, I've been playing Smash Bros. Ultimate a ton, and my stepfather bought a PS4 because in the previous year, he and I got addicted to Fortnite at the time, and he bought a PS4 so he could play it. But after a while, when he got tired of the game and didn't have any games to play on the PS4, he just gave it to me. Thank you so much, stepfather, for that. And then I picked up Sonic Forces for the PS4, and here is when I realized that the game was a boring, lame story, not a fun experience. After going back and playing this dumpster fire, after pretty much experiencing the better stories and other games at the time for me, I realized how bad this game truly was. But I was still planning on picking up TSR because it was a racing game and it was Sonic, so I was like, I'll buy it, why not? So, I woke up on my birthday, and to my surprise, I got Team Sonic Racing. I played it on my Switch, and to be perfectly honest, I was just plainly bored with it. My family said, "How is it?" And I said, "Oh, it's good." But on the inside, I was just saying meh. It was here I questioned, am I getting too old for Sonic? So after Team Sonic Racing released, I kind of started to stop following the franchise. I started keeping up to date with the new Dragon Ball game, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, because that was really becoming my most hyped game around 2019. I still kept up to date with some things like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, but I really didn't care much, to be honest. And at this point, I've been playing the crap out of Mortal Kombat 11 and was really getting into the Mortal Kombat franchise as a whole, as well as other games as well. And what really did not help me stay with Sonic around 2019 was the disaster that was the Sonic movie trailer. I was almost ashamed to call myself a Sonic fan at this point. At this point, I was just saying, Sonic is over. there's no coming back from this. This franchise is gonna die. That's literally the words I kept just saying to myself whenever I saw that this trailer was just getting memed like crazy, and just pretty much everybody clowning on it. So after the disappointing movie trailer and the extremely lackluster racing game, I just stopped caring for Sonic. I moved on to other games, like Mortal Kombat games, as well as Dragon Ball games too, like Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 and Dragon Ball FighterZ as well. And also, I was still really on the hype train for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot too. And of course, I still stuck with Nintendo because I could never leave them, because they were still putting out good games at the time, little did we know. But the only thing I even had for Sonic that was related to him in my life around this point was Smash Brothers. That's it. And of course, there was the new Sonic movie trailer with the fixed design, and I thought it looked cool, but I wasn't excited like I would be now. So after that, I just stopped really with Sonic. I didn't touch a Sonic game, I didn't follow the franchise, I just left. The franchise no longer had anything to offer for me, and after loving this franchise for literally the majority of my life up to this point, I just decided to say goodbye to the Sonic franchise and decided to move on to other gaming franchises. And that was that. I was done with Sonic. Or was I? Let's fast forward a little bit. At this point, it's January 2020. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot finally released. And that was probably the most excited I was for a video game since Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but it still didn't top the Ultimate hype train. But what else was on the horizon for this year? Well, what was coming soon was the first Sonic movie, and at this point, I hardly had anything to do with Sonic. But I went and saw it just because, why not? I was a Sonic fan at one point, and I just wanted to see how the movie would be. And I really loved the movie at the time. But it really didn't bring me back to the franchise. I still was just thinking to myself, I think I'm just too old for Sonic, and I just genuinely didn't feel anything for it. But, don't get me wrong, I still had a great time with the movie. So throughout 2020, I really started getting into Marvel while we were all locked up because of the pandemic. So as I was becoming a humongous Marvel fan throughout 2020, that even getting me into the Spider-Man games as well from Insomniac, a dear friend of mine showed me another PlayStation exclusive game called Dreams. And with this game, there were Sonic fan games on it that actually intrigued me, and I thought they were really cool, but I didn't buy Dreams because I just wasn't interested at the time. They were cool, but I was more like, this is cool, but It was sparking the flame for Sonic, but it just wouldn't relight it. A Dreams fan game wasn't enough to relight the spark for me. But about a year later, I would get Dreams, and I even start making videos on it as well. So 2020 starts to come to a close, and towards the end of 2020, around the end of Christmas time, stuff about the Sonic 30th anniversary starts happening, like schedules and also rumored projects as well. And then, that's when I started discovering the new world of Sonic content creators, otherwise known as Sonic Tubers. I discovered new creators like Speed Supersonic, Matt Has No Cuts, and The Sonic Show as well. And also I even found Premi again and started watching his content again as well. And as well as I'd also discover many more other creators as 2021 went on. But what mainly got me to watch these creators was to mainly get news updates from these two, and because this guy makes really based content. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't even know how to pronounce the name when I first started watching him. Sorry, Matt. Regardless, with the 30th anniversary of Sonic coming up, I started to slowly make my way back into the franchise. And in fact, I even started making Let's Plays on Sonic games when I first started doing YouTube in early 2021. As I started to make my way back to the franchise, and eventually I'd buy Dreams and make content with the fan projects on there, with the leaks and rumors coming out for Sonic's 30th anniversary, I was starting to get more intrigued to what we would possibly have coming soon. I started, getting more intrigued into the franchise again, and started staying up to date with everything again. I started playing Sonic games again. I booted up my Xbox 360, I turned on Sonic Unleashed, and I started playing yet again. And I even turned on my Wii and started playing games like Sonic and the Secret Ring, Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic Colors, and even just a ton of other Sonic games that I had across my consoles because I just wanted to start playing them again. I played the classics, I played the adventure games again, and just overall I found myself just starting to play more Sonic games again, and as well as just starting to be proud to call myself a Sonic fan again. Mainly because I saw that there were other fans out there that were just as big a fan of this franchise just like I was. For years, I always thought I was alone in liking this because where I grew up, I could not share my passion with anyone. I was always that one kid who was stupid for liking a hedgehog in school. I know I'm making this sound kind of dramatic, but I grew up in a small town. Regardless, when I finally saw that there were other fans out there that made content of their own, talking about their favorite Sonic games, giving hot takes of their own, or just covering the recent news, without a doubt, I can 110% say that I was back with Sonic. And this time, I was truly going to stay forever, and was never leaving. But why is that? Well, first of all, what played a big key factor was mainly the content of just seeing people give their own opinions on Sonic games that I loved playing growing up. And it just made me glad to see there were other people that loved this franchise and games just like I did growing up. And it was just really great seeing all these other creators making their Sonic content. I had no clue there would just be so many fans just like yours truly. But I think the big reason why I never will leave Sonic now was because looking back, not only did I feel the way I actually felt in 2019, but I felt that I had to get out of Sonic somehow. And I think the reason why was just so I wouldn't get made fun of personally. I wouldn't be made fun of for just liking a franchise. And I was so scared what people would say. I was so scared of just how people would look at me for me being a guy who liked Sonic who was 16 years old. And in 2021, I decided to stop feeling that way. I decided to no longer constantly worry about what other people felt about me. If they don't like me because I like Sonic, I said, you know what? Who cares if I like this franchise? If they don't like me for liking a franchise, then they're not meant to be friends of me. Who cares if I make a YouTube channel and want to make content for the rest of my life? That's not going to play a key factor if they have the 2 cents to say about it. It's my life, I said. And I wasn't going to let people that just constantly tried to push me down for me just having a passion towards something anymore. And I told myself that I was no longer going to be held down to what other people think at that moment. I just did me and loved what I wanted to love. And I love Sonic. And I don't see that changing ever. This franchise has always been there for me throughout my whole life as a kid, even into my early teens. It's been my everything, and it still is to this very day. If that's not enough proof, look at this channel. So many videos have been made in the past year of this franchise, and I've got so much more in store for you guys. I never thought I would see the day where I could literally just meet so many great creators, where they're just as big a fan of this franchise as I am. Or heck, if not even a bigger fan than me. And I truly have to thank you guys as well. You guys are great fans of this franchise just like I am. You watch my videos of me just giving my overall opinions on Sonic or making discussions or just my thoughts in general about some things in this franchise. I never thought I would legitimately see the day. And I do not plan on stopping here. In fact, I'm just getting started. And so is Sonic. Sonic has made the biggest comeback ever, going from a laughingstock of a franchise to now being massively respected character once again. And now, couldn't be a better time ever to be a Sonic fan. And even this year, we've got so much great Sonic content heading our way. We got the Knuckles TV show. Today is the launch day of Sonic Origins Plus, as well as the remaining 2 Sonic Frontiers updates for throughout the year, and even now we have Sonic Superstars for this fall. Sonic is going higher than ever before, and I'm so glad that I came back to this franchise at the right time. And now that I'm back, I don't ever plan on leaving ever again. So Sonic, happy birthday to you, and here's to many more years. Thank you, Sonic, for speeding into my life all those years ago. In fact, thank you for speeding into all of our lives, Sonic, and making all of us love you. Here's to the future of this franchise. Happy birthday, Sonic, and thank you all so much for listening to my story on how I will never leave Sonic the Hedgehog. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I will see you all in the next one. I love you all so much. Until then, everyone, take care.